Hello. Just been moving my fat ass around in the gym for a little while, so bear with me if I'm a little bit sweaty and out of breath. And while I was there, I was listening to Dan Wotton video, and he was saying and he's declaring that Tommy has chosen the side of Restore and Rupert Lowe. And it's like, what? Saw that? I was like, okay, good, because the last thing I saw of Tommy was him sort of trying to wrestle with his own cognitive dissonance now, about the ethnicity question. And this is so I hope he wrestles with that, and then he basically, I'm going to say in a minute, I'm going to mention a few other sort of prominent YouTubers and you know uh, sort of new journalism people that are obviously still struggling with this. So Jeff Taylor, obviously Tommy. There is others, Richard Inman. In a minute ago, I was thinking about it, and I had a bigger list in my head. It might come to me in a minute, and I sort of put Dan Wotton in there as well. That the English consciousness has woken up, and it is inevitable that it is going to continue. Right? It accept it. So if your mission has been to sort of the civic nationalist thing, like, so anyone can be British from anywhere in the world as long as they feel British or some bullshit like that. They used to argue about which team do you support when the cricket's on and that sort of stuff. You've lost. Well, it's not official yet, but you've lost, because every other country in the world is allowed to have an ethnicity. They're allowed to have that identity, and we're being told that we're not, and and sorry, the slurs don't work anymore. And so it would be my advice to you would be, stop wrestling with that, because it is cognitive dissonance. It's exactly the same thing that you see when you're waking up people that don't realize what the government's been doing, how bad, how abhorrently evil Islam is, and all these sorts of things. They sort of wrestle with it, and because it's their conditioning. Over all our lives we've been conditioned to not think about it. So that's really it. It's sort of a continuation from my last video as well, which was about let the right divide. So yeah, fine, let it divide. Let us see all the people that are on this side and all that side, and at the end of it, let's be absolutely real. It's about Israel. It always seems to be about Israel, a country from which I have had enough of their shit. I just don't care. I don't care at all anymore. I'm told I'm supposed to care, but why should I when they clearly don't care about the state of England? They're an ethno-state apparently, but we're not allowed to be. It's like go fuck off. I just had enough of that shit. I don't care. Call me whatever you want to call me. It no longer works. I have moved clearly from a civic nationalist position of a few years ago towards more of an ethno-nationalist sort of realist stance. I'm not all the way. I might end up being all the way. Who knows? But I still am happy for people that don't look like me to live in the country and walk the same streets and breathe the same air as I do and have largely the same rights. But no, there needs to come. We need to get to a point where we go, no, we do need to put our group first, and we need to put in place eventually a government that is more afraid of us and will never ever dare to try to take it away from us ever again. How they're going to become that afraid of us, well, that's a different subject I'm going to try not to talk about too much, because even though I am fully on board with the Restore project, I'm a member. I'm waiting to get details for the the local branch that's closest to me. But I still don't think that all we have to do is just win an election to do it. It's going to get a lot more nasty than that, but whatever. That's it really. So just to those people, Tommy in particular, who's doing a great job at the moment out in America. You know, he's doing the tour. I hope he keeps going. I hope he talks to all of them, and I hope he wakes them all up about the dangers of Islam. Because, you know, like the Americans, you think that you clearly don't have the problem we have, but you're going to have. The second halal meat was available to buy in the state where you live, that was the first step. That's it, right? The inevitable outcome is they completely take you over unless you resist it. So please, Tommy, you're doing God's work there. Spread the word about it. Um, and then, but while you're doing that, Tommy, and you know the other guys I mentioned there, plus many others, have this struggle session with yourself. Have it. Our ethnicity does matter. I am an Englishman. My parents are English. My grandparents are English. My great grandparents are English. And you know, obviously we're common, and so the sort of family tree stuff sort of runs out, doesn't it, from whenever the first census was. My dad did it, and we're just, you know, English British all the way. You know, the genetics of the family, it's fine. But if I wasn't, that would also be fine. And I would say, like I did a video a while ago, and I said you have to have 8 grandparents that are English or British to sort of stand for political office. I think my compromise would be 3 grandparents. If you have 3 English or British grandparents, then you can stand for election. And actually, I would also take vote away from anyone that doesn't have um, 3 British grandparents. You know, we need to make sure that we are the group that dominate how our country is run, and the privilege that other people have to live in this country will be protected, but you do not have a say in what happens until your grandchildren will, if you see what I mean. Anyway, that's it. That's this one over. Speak to you soon. Bye.